Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a quick trade recap on Euro USD of the trade I took on Friday. So on the left here we have the 4 hour chart. We are clearly bearish on the daily if we just take a look. So my expectation is the bearish trend is to continue and that this high is going to stay intact. In order to do that, while the 4 hour could come up a bit higher, I don't expect this high to go. Generally, a trend doesn't change that often. Obviously, it's possible for it to change, but as of right now, I'm going to assume that the bearish trend is going to continue. On the 4 hour side of things, we have a unconfirmed bullish trend right now. And by unconfirmed, I mean we took one high, and if we take this high and close above it, the trend will be confirmed on the 4 hour. However, I'm still not sold on the bullishness till this high goes on the daily. Then in that case, we would become unconfirmed bullish. As of right now, I'm still focusing on shorts. So when I woke up, first thing I noticed too is our 4 hour EQ, which is going from the bottom of this leg to the top of this leg, is down here. You can't really see the demand level on there. I think I found it on the 2 hour because I figured there was something there. So I looked on the 2 hour, and it also happens to be where our 4 hour EQ was. So I was actually hoping to take price down there. It didn't quite happen, but that's okay. We still ended up getting a trade out of it. And on the 15-minute side of things here, we have an unconfirmed bearish trend. Unconfirmed meaning that we took this low, and my expectation is to take this low. To me, this low becomes weak as it failed to take this high, and my trade idea was basically planned on running this low. Although it didn't happen, I ended up paying myself down at the demand level, and I'll show you guys what I was looking at. So the initial flip zone actually happened right here. I'm just going to draw this out. So we had an initial chalk and flip right here. I'm just go chalk top and go chalk bottom. So our initial flip zone happened right here, and basically what I'm looking at here now is we're breaking substructure. Could this be a clue of us going down? The other thing I'm also looking at is this whole range has been wiped of all liquidity, including this up top here. If you just pay attention to what this wick did, it basically wiped the remainder of the range and mitigated this supply zone if we refined it just down to that. Going back to what I had that day, I basically woke up to seeing this, and this was a tap into the initial 15 flip zone. Now, if you look really closely, we actually have a mini chalk inside this chalk, where we have a chalk top and a chalk bottom. And to me, obviously the cause is the wick. As we say, there's always shit in wicks. Unfortunately, this was right before I got on the charts, and I didn't get to get into this, which is totally fine though. We're going to talk about the entry I took in a sec here. So I wanted to start doing these by bar replay. And what we're going to do now is just scoot over to the 1 minute side of things. And what I can do in a little bit here is basically scoot back to the other chart, which is our 15-minute, and show you how the two correlate. Now, I've had a few people reach out to me and ask me to do these by bar replay, so it's more realistic and people can kind of see what I'm looking at in a moment. So that's what we're going to do. Now, if we look here, you obviously have your inducement and you have your cause for break of demand. So that's the way I would view that. Like I said, I got into the charts just after this happened, so I didn't get a chance in this. But that was the first and probably best trade of the day, which happened literally 5 minutes before I got on the charts. But totally fine. Now, something I want you to pay attention to here is this zone that we're in right now actually ends up forming this 15-minute supply. And the next thing I want you to pay attention to, we're just going to delete that for now, is we once again swept the highs and we swept the lows. With that in mind, we have another disrespected demand. So to me, the bearish momentum is likely to continue, and my thoughts were to run weak low. As I said, it didn't happen, but that's totally fine. I did send my draw ups to the Telegram group. If you're not part of that, definitely join that. I send these charts to the Telegram group anytime I have a trade idea that works out. So this to me is the zone that caused demand to fail. There's nothing in between here. There's no interaction between buyers and sellers. It was just kind of one push down. And I just want you guys to pay attention to that zone. So we're just going to kind of play that ahead. And this is actually something I was, I think, sitting on the gold chart, or maybe GU. I don't know what I was doing, but you have a chalk and flip in here. So there was a short opportunity in here. There was another one right here as it took this bottom, and then you had one more right here. I'm not sure where my head was at, but I missed all of those as well, which is totally fine. We don't need to force trades. Usually the market is good to us and gives us multiple opportunities. And obviously we have a stacked liquidity here, so we'll just go ahead and mark that out. So we're always looking at how the market is forming and why everything is happening. Now the first thing I notice here is a very aggressive reaction, and the thing that happens with these is they usually go the opposite direction and you trade away from the sweep. I took a buy here off this wick right here because to me something in this wick caused the actual break. I ended up breaking even on this trade. I partial out 20% of 4R and it basically went 4R and come back, took me out. It ended up going off the extreme, which I did not take, and that's fine again as long as your trade management's intact. So that was my top end. I was really pumped and I thought we're going back up to this area from that with how aggressive this reaction was. Unfortunately, Euro decided to range a little bit on us, and that's totally fine too. So that was my break even, and I think it's this wick that ends up going off later. So just before we go any further, let's catch the 15-minute side of things up, just to show you the interaction between the time frames. So obviously this comes back up. I think I played it forward a little too much, but that's okay. So if you notice, we're just stacking liquidity right now. Where is it? I think by now I'd be used to it, but I'm not yet. So back to the 1 minute side of things. And yeah, you could definitely say you have some sort of a supply zone. It's not the greatest supply zone, but it's something. And right now we're stacking liquidity. I actually tried selling this back down too, and that one didn't work out for me. So we're kind of again stacking liquidity. And you always have to look at the market as where are the orders being stacked. Sometimes they leave us clues about where we could get in. So right now this is our 15-minute supply. Now I believe I shorted off the extreme here, and I usually take 75% just in here. And I was just looking to run this liquidity, just a quick short trade, and this guy I believe whipped me out. Not yet, right there. So that one didn't work out for me. I did run the target, but I didn't cover enough. And again, that's totally fine. And as you see here, we have equal lows now. And with equal lows, more often than not, they will get run. We just don't know when. But there is your proper run, and there is your tap into the wick that caused the initial up move. I didn't get tapped into this either, but I did get a really good sell down. And there is ultimately what you're looking for. You see something like that, I would put a risk order on that all day long. For some reason, I don't know if I was sitting on the chart at the time. I think I was really waiting for this to happen. Because the way I viewed this is we have a range from top to bottom. And basically, I was looking at this as 50% of the range. And after I took one loss of the sell, the next thing I notice is we have stacked liquidity here. I still have a zone up above that I want to sell off of. And I'm ultimately waiting for this sell as it's better priced, and we're always looking to run that low as it's weak. And the story was definitely there. So I'll just play this forward. So ultimately you had a great sell off this, or a great buy off that wick. I didn't catch that. I actually didn't. I didn't actually enter on this. I wanted to make sure this went down, so I waited for the tap into this zone, and then I waited for one more chalk and flip. And I actually took two positions on that. One from the cause and one from the extreme. The cause of the break here, which to me I thought was this wick. That one didn't work out for me, so I ended up taking two positions here. I took one more here, which was my second loss of the day on Euro. And yeah, it was a little bit relentless this day, and that's totally fine. But I ended up going down to the 15 second and getting quite a tight entry actually. So this one came back and took me out, didn't work out. The extreme on the other hand tapped me in. And we actually narrowed that down on the 15 second. I didn't bother covering the high because to me it doesn't need to come any higher than that. I think it was only like 1.4 pips or 1.5 or something. It wasn't much I covered. Yeah, it was 1.5 because I didn't even cover the high. I think we did something like this. And might even been like 1.7. I definitely didn't cover the high, I remember that. So I was looking to run the week low. I ended up closing 90% of it down at the bottom here, as it kind of looked like price stalled when we got down here. And it's funny enough, it actually stalled at this place. And if you look at what this place is, you kind of have a sweep of the lows here. Where's it? Chalk bottom. And you have a sweep of the highs. And this one's kind of weird because you could say the cause is this area here. However, to me, this is inducement. Had it not been Friday, I would have probably taken a buy off that. But the way this went down is I ended up closing 90% of my trade when I got to here. I was really hoping it was just going to smash through, but price pretty much stalled here. So it does get down there. So right around here, we closed 90% when it tapped into that. That was, you know, Wednesday, Thursday. I would have bought that all day long. So we got a 10R out of that, and so I got a 9R because I closed 90% there. I did leave some on. I was looking to run this low, and I was hoping it was going to do it before market close. It didn't end up doing it. That's totally fine. And you can see that the couple losses really don't count for much, and the one break even when you just need one good trade. And ultimately this actually ended up going up off here, which is not something I thought would have happened on Friday. But however, there's a reason we don't keep trading on Friday, because you start losing volume, and ultimately price doesn't always respect things the best. Someone had actually messaged me, one of my students I coach, and he took this long, which is pretty brave. I wouldn't have done it, but I suppose I think he did quite well on it. He trades just like this, centers on the 25%, and I believe he took it to that. So it's still actually an 8.7R, which is a really good trade, but not something I want to do on Friday when the market's closing. But yeah, that's the trade recap people were asking me about, so I thought I'd post it. Definitely subscribe if you haven't. Follow me on Instagram. There will be more trade recaps and more educational content regarding smart money concepts coming your way soon. And yeah,